Good evening, Dodger fans. This is the Incline Dodgers podcast. We are presented by TickPick, FanSided, Underdog Fantasy. I hate to say it, but this is not the first time we've been in this position. This is probably the third year in a row now we're facing elimination in the NLDS, and the Dodgers once again find themselves down to an NL West opponent. Second time in 3 years to the San Diego Padres, where once again we won game one and dropped the next two games and now are on the verge of elimination at Petco Park. This game sucked. This is Kevin Klein speaking. I have a lot to get off my mind and chest because I'm pissed. But what's up, Jake Reiner? What's up, Chris Camello? Let me hand it off to Jake Reiner to kick it off.
I feel like I was talking about this all season long. Off season, middle of the season, end of the season. I was so afraid that this was going to happen, and exactly what I was fearful of has occurred, which is we're in the exact same position we were the last three years in a row now. And I don't know what else to say at this point. This team just does not show up in October. And yeah, we have starting pitching problems. We knew that. You can't do anything about injuries. And it's tough when your starting pitching puts you in a hole every single night. But tonight, it wasn't just the starting pitching. It was the defense. It was just awful defense. Miguel Rojas, really just an absolute worst time to have a brain fart. And I thought in that moment, I said out loud while I was watching, I was like, this is an ominous moment in the game where you look back and you think this is why they lost. And I thought that on the Freddie Freeman throw that glanced off Machado. And then, did he get in the way of the throw and off the baseline? Yeah, sure. Could they have called that? Absolutely. Did they? No. But then you have a gimme double play with Rojas and Gavin Lux, and this has all happened in the second inning. And Rojas decides that he's going to run it to the bag, and he's too fucking slow to get anybody out. So they didn't get any outs on that play. And you just knew at that point that Padres were going to put up a lot of runs, and they did. And you give that team enough opportunities to score, they're going to take advantage. And I thought up until that point, Buehler actually wasn't pitching that badly, and he gave you 5 innings, and that's fine. A couple of mistakes, obviously, to Tatis and company, but his defense let him down. And then you look at the offense. After that momentous grand slam by Teoscar Hernandez, you thought, okay, this team is back from the dead once again. Mm-hmm. And then they went 1 for 22 the rest of the way, never even put another runner on base besides Freddie Freeman. So just an absolute disaster. I'll get into more of the other thoughts that I have, but that's just my initial thoughts. It's just so demoralizing every year to watch the same thing happen over and over again.
So first off, I'm going to pass it off to Chris, but I just want to highlight the chat real quick. I see you guys going off. We'll definitely get to some of your guys' comments. Really appreciate all you guys watching us right now. Hit that like button while you're here. Those likes go a long way. I can't wait to rip Miguel Rojas' choker ass up in a few minutes. But before I do that, let me get Chris Camello's words in here.
Oh gosh, how do I even set that up, Kev? Oh man. Jake, I think you are echoing a lot of what Dodger fans feel. The anger point for me was that pathetic, soft showing that they had in game 2. That was pathetic to get embarrassed like that on your home field. And yes, the game got ugly for a lot of different ways. Tonight, I got to say, it was a lack of execution on the defensive side. And when you have a starting pitcher who's not going to rely on strikeouts, your defense better be good. Because here's the thing that I've noticed with the Padres throughout these first games of the series. They don't strike out a lot. They're putting the ball in play. It doesn't matter. 0-2, 1-2, 3-1, 3-2. They're putting the ball in play. So your defense better be lock, stock, and whiskey barrel. And here we thought, Jake, first inning, Mookie gets a home run that doesn't get robbed, right? Buehler retires a side in order. We're thinking, finally, we have a first inning that went smoothly. Could this be a sign of good things to come? Nope. The wheels quickly came off track. And yeah, Freddie made a good play to get the stop, and then the throw is ricocheted, and then you could just feel from there, this is likely going to be a 2, maybe a 3-run inning. And really, it wasn't all on Buehler. 2 mistake pitches. One that got too far inside on Peralta. He ripped it down the line. Peralta doing his best Eddie Rosario from 2021 impersonation. And then Fernando Tatis, man, I got to tell you, he may be a better October performer than Juan Soto right now. Remember Juan Soto? We had to deal with him 2 years ago. But the Dodgers, up until that game 4 2 years ago, handled Juan Soto. They got no answers for Fernando Tatis Jr. right now. That dude's a train wreck for the Dodgers. So once he hit that 2-run home run, I was like, this is game. And yes, Teoscar got him back in with the grand slam. I like the station-to-station baseball. But going back to the defense, Rojas, of all people, why do you make a bad defensive play? And the thing is, it leads to other things, and you can't give another team great outs. And if you guys watch the wild card series, that 6-run second was very similar to the 5-run second they put on Max Fried. It was the same thing. A home run, infield hits, botched plays by the defense, and now we're going to make you pay. Great teams, no matter the sport, always make you pay. But the stat of the night, I want you guys to know, batters 5 through 9, 1 for 18, 6 strikeouts. Muncy, Smith, Lux, Rojas, Pajes,
Edman.
1 for 18, 6 Ks. Yeah, Edman as well. I knew I was missing one in there. So there you go. That's how you lose a ball game right there, when your top-heavy offense is doing everything and the other guys forgot how to hit. So I just wanted to throw that in there. Kev, go ahead, brother.
More thoughts on those chumps later, but this is actually a good comment from Janello Kitty that just popped up and will play perfectly into what I'm about to get into. So she points out Miguel's triple play and his disastrous slow non-flip to second has her disgusted. And that I honestly forgot. Yeah, Miguel Rojas hit into a fucking triple play a week ago. Never start his ass against the Padres again to start things off. But tonight doesn't even the trash that the Dodgers fans threw onto the field Sunday night was nowhere near as disgusting as the performance we saw from Miguel Rojas tonight. I wouldn't bring him back on this team anymore, even if he paid us to play, because this loss was strictly on Miguel Rojas. This guy's been nothing but a choker since he's put on a Dodgers uniform. He can't hit for beans in the postseason. He's got a 560 OPS career lifetime. The fact that we had to roll him out there when he was clearly playing with a torn groin and the abdomen injuries and all that. Like, what are we doing? You cannot have the premium position starting an important key postseason game if he can't even fucking run to second base to get an easy force out. This guy cost us the game, and I am done with Miguel Rojas. I hope he's not coming back in a Dodgers uniform. This is our equivalence of Bill Buckner tonight because he fucked all the momentum.
Same thing happened with Trey Turner in the division series with the Padres the last time around. Just a disastrous error at shortstop that leads to a big inning. And to me, it wasn't the fact that Miguel Rojas couldn't get to second base. It's the fact that he didn't throw it to second base. Why are you not? Lux was there. Just get one out on the play. Instead, you get no outs on the play, and you leave the door open for the Padres to step through. You give them enough outs to play with, they're going to hurt you because these guys are good hitters. My biggest issue is not so much with Miguel Rojas in general. Tonight, he was a disaster. But my overall question, I guess, is why don't our guys play well in October? Everybody else's guys play well. Our guys don't play well. I looked up Fernando Tatis Jr.'s stats in this postseason. This motherfucker's hitting 556 with 4 home runs, 7 RBIs, a 1,969 OPS. Where's that on this team? They never have a guy that does that.
And it's his first postseason since 2020 because he was suspended for 2022.
We don't have anybody like that. Even Ohtani, who hit a monstrous home run in game 1. He's been pedestrian, you know?
Yeah.
Mookie Betts
and by the way,
tonight. Yeah. Mookie Betts up until tonight has been pedestrian. He had a good game tonight. Freddie Freeman's injured, but nothing from Max Muncy, nothing from Will Smith, nothing from Tommy Edman, nothing from Rojas, nothing from Pages. You can't even play Chris Taylor. None of these guys can do anything in October.
It's a bunch of freaking chokers. Someone test Miguel Rojas for osteoporosis, because I swear every time this guy plays 15 games, he gets motherfucking hurt, and then he hurts us. Then we have to play some scrub at shortstop. This is one of the things that fucking pissed me off. I talked about it all season long. They got so cute thinking Mookie Betts could hold down the shortstop position. They didn't acquire a real shortstop when they needed one in the first half, so we got stuck with Miguel Rojas's janky ass giving us a Walmart performance out there. I want to return him so bad. I want a refund. What a fucking waste of a season to not get a shortstop when it's the most important defensive position in baseball, and to punt it is just a slap in the face to all us Dodger fans. It's unbelievable. The front office needs to be held accountable for that bullshit.
I agree. Not going after a shortstop is
and you let one go. And you let one go, Jake. Don't forget, I understand Jack Flaherty has been a real solid addition, but you let one go, and Trey Sweeney. That was the one downside of that trade, was you let go of an infielder because there are no guarantees. I know Klein, Kev, you put it out there that, hey, we're going to go after, or they should go after Willy Adames this offseason, but the shortstop market is not prevalent like it has been in years past. So a guy like Adames coming off of a career year where a team went to the playoffs and he actually had an MVP caliber season, he'll likely get some 5th or 6th place votes for MVP of the National League this year. That's how good he was. That man's going to get paid. So don't think that this position is going to be resolved anytime soon. So, but yeah, I hear what you're saying, Jake. It just, and I think about the Dodger teams of years past where, we're talking 2017, even 2016, 2018, they don't have a lot of the grit factor. They don't have a lot of guys that could just get hot and get rolling like those teams did. Justin Turner, Cody Bellinger, Corey Seager. You know what I'm saying?
It's such a cop-out, though, because these guys are so fucking good in the regular season. And then as soon as October turns, who gives a shit? Other guys' stars are playing well in the playoffs. For whatever reason, we can't have that. I don't get it.
We had him and we let him walk to the Texas Rangers. Letting Corey Seager go is the biggest disaster in franchise history. It's a worse trade than giving up Yordan Alvarez for some shitty-ass relief pitcher. It's a worse move than letting Adrian Beltre walk. We had the one guy that was hitting in every postseason, Corey Seager, and this might be the 3rd year in a row since we let his ass walk that we're going to get bounced in the first round. And he's already won a World Series since he's left. I don't think it's any coincidence that the one guy that actually had balls in October is gone. And now the next guy who's actually shown up in Teoscar Hernandez, I'm going to be fucking pissed if they let him walk.
Right. No, they should definitely keep him. There's no question about it. He's the only one that's shown up besides, Ohtani and then Betts tonight. That's the only 3 guys you can really talk about that have done worth a damn in this series. But to pin it all on one player leaving, I don't buy that either. Because yes, Corey Seager, great postseason hitter, probably shouldn't have let him go. I'm with you on that. You can convince me of that. But what you can't convince me of is why we have 3 former MVPs plus the rest of this lineup that are really good baseball players, and they can't do anything in October. And I've been talking about this ad nauseum. This team is built for the regular season, not built for October. They rely too heavily on the home run, and it's burned us. Tonight is a prime example of that. We don't score. We didn't score without a home run tonight, and we lost.
Vance Scoyak's got to go.
It's unbelievable. You see what the Royals do. You see what the Tigers do. They make contact. You can't strike them out. The Padres are the same way. They got Luis Ariz, and even Manny Machado shortens his swing and hits a little dumper into left field in a 2-strike count. Our guys just don't do that.
True.
You saw the full spectrum. Even though mistakes aside, what we've seen through the first 3 games with the Padres is the full spectrum and how complete of a team they actually are. They could outpower you. They could outspeed you. They could out-defense you. They could out-bullpen you. They could out-starting pitching you. They could out-manage you. And I understand they slept walk for the better part of 3 months, from March through about June, I'd say. And then things started to slowly turn around. And then once they got Tatis back in the mix, everything kind of just came together. And to me, by the way, you guys want to mention Corey Seager? I think we're looking at Corey Seager, the second coming in Jackson Merrill. That kid is special. And if it wasn't for Paul Skeens, more than likely he would be a unanimous NL Rookie of the Year. He's going to have, hopefully, if injuries aside, or barring any injuries, he's going to have a very good season. So I just think this is a fearless team, a team with a lot of confidence and a lot of swag, and they are showing up the Dodgers right now, who once again are wearing and feeling that pressure. And that's the other aspect of it. When you are feeling that pressure on you year in and year out, it gets into your head. So much of this game is mental, guys. And I think with the Dodgers, with this particular group, as soon as they hit the skids, it's almost like PTSD. They start feeling everything that they have felt in recent years of getting eliminated. And maybe that's a cop-out as well, Jake, but that's an explanation for why some of the struggles are the way they are.
Okay, so what I was saying about Willy Adames online is something I had been saying about Willy Adames this past offseason. He was there for the taking with Corbin Burns, and we didn't make the move when it was the most obvious move on the whole trade market. And this is hindsight, so I'm not going to act like it was a mistake up front, but they went after Tyler Glasnow, who's not available to pitch in the postseason. They decided to try Gavin Lux at shortstop. He was a disaster and lost the job in spring training. The clear move was to trade for Willy Adames, so you get your rental franchise shortstop for one season, and if you lose him, then oh well. And you get Corbin Burns, who I don't think missed a start this season, and if he did, he missed maybe 2 or 3. But the point is, he showed up this October, even if his team lost. Didn't he pitch like 8 innings of shutout baseball?
Yes.
We don't have that.
Baseball. Yeah.
Whatever. We don't have anything close to that. We have no starter. We spent like $500 million on a new rotation, and none of them can show up this postseason. Yamamoto was bad, but they won the game, whatever. Jack Flaherty was okay, but he wasn't great. And then Walker Buehler, who was average tonight. He had 0 strikeouts. And I'm not going to put any blame on Walker Buehler, but I'm not going to act like he pitched great either. Everything that he threw, there were no swing and misses. The balls went into play. That sometimes sets things up for failure. 0 strikeouts in postseason play is very dangerous.
Yeah, it's an absolute disaster of a postseason once again. I'm floored that we're watching the same exact thing play out. The same exact deficiencies that this team has had the last 3 seasons are the same exact deficiencies they roll into October every year. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's like, why can't they figure this out? I don't understand why they can't make the necessary changes. And look, putting this all in perspective, right? There still is one more game to play tomorrow, and the Dodgers could easily win that game, and they could also easily win Game 5. I'm not saying it's going to be easy to do so, but I'm saying it is within the realm of possibilities, obviously. So there is that. But the problem is that every year you put yourself in such a hole, not only from game to game, right? Not only is, your starting pitching putting you in your offense in a hole that they can't dig themselves out of, but you're also putting yourself in a hole on the road, elimination game in San Diego. This is where their season ended 2 years ago. And that's a game that they had the lead in, and the bullpen imploded. So it's just every single year, it's the same kind of deficiencies. And then some disastrous thing happens, like in the second inning, where you can't really account for the fact that the defense decides not to show up tonight.
Shouldn't we be embarrassed that a Game 4 of the NLDS, we have to rely on a bullpen game? Isn't that kind of embarrassing?
Absolutely.
What happened to the depth? I know Bobby Miller was a choker and sucked and couldn't get his emotions in control. Clayton Kershaw washed, couldn't even come back. And then everyone else was hurt. More on that later, just the disaster of how we managed the roster this season. But I am a little optimistic that the Padres are going to go with Dylan Cease, I think, on 3 days rest. And I'm not entirely sure why they feel the need to do that. It seems a little bit aggressive. He didn't even pitch that great in Game 1. So maybe if the bats show up, something can break in our favor and we can get to Dylan Cease, who I doubt's ever pitched on 3 days rest before. But at the same time, I'm guessing that sets it up for Yu Darvish in Game 5, if we even get to a Game 5. And that performance against Yu Darvish, I would have fired half the offense into the sun after that embarrassment of a performance. I mean, Yu Darvish is 38, and he's carving us up like we're a freaking turkey out there.
I guess what they're thinking is that Cease didn't have a great start at Dodger Stadium. Maybe it'll be different at home. And because Yu Darvish carved the Dodgers up for 7 innings at Dodger Stadium, they'll probably just go with that again. I mean, I think it makes a little bit of sense, but at the same time, we might even have a better shot with a bullpen game than with a starting pitcher at this point, because they can't be any worse. I mean, the starting pitcher has been so bad that why not turn it over to the bullpen? I'm sure Landon Knack will get some innings in that game. But the problem is that the Dodgers have not been able to build a lead and keep it. And that's the problem. Outside of Game 1, which they didn't play that great in that one either. They just got 2 big hits pretty much, and that was it. And tonight they got 1 big hit. I mean, 2 if you count the Mookie solo shot, but 1 big hit in the Teoscar Hernandez grand slam, and then literally nothing after that. They couldn't get on base. They couldn't get on base for Ohtani and Betts, and they just went kind of quietly into the night. They didn't mount another rally after that. So to me, it was just like a slow death march the rest of the way. It
was kind of a bizarre. Go ahead, Kev. Yeah. Go ahead.
Comment from Shant HOPEline. We complained about the bottom of the lineup the whole year, and here we are with them screwing us. Why are we surprised? I mean, this is an A+ comment right here. Yeah. Let's start with Max Muncy. What the hell is going on with Max Muncy? He looks like 38-year-old Justin Turner out there. He can't catch up to the fastball anymore. He's swinging and missing at every fastball up in the zone. I think I want him gone, if I'm being honest. Will Smith, we gave this guy 10 years. That looks like a disaster of a contract in year 1. He has no hits this postseason. And then Gavin Lux went 0 for 4 as well. Tommy Edman 0 for 3. Miguel Rojas 1 for 1, but he fucked us on defense. And then Andy Paz came in and went 0 for 2. The bottom of the lineup, I think one of you read the stat, was just a train wreck tonight. We were literally
1 for 18.
0 for 15. Yeah, 1 for 18, 0 for 15. I mean, it just an absolute abomination.
If you count Rojas, and by the way, Kike Hernandez, who actually is a postseason hero, in a lot of different regards. He's had some huge hits with the Dodgers. He had a great postseason with the Boston Red Sox a few years ago. Why he was not put in that game over somebody like Andy Paz is beyond me. You had a few opportunities to put him in there, and, in a 1-run game, to not put this guy in there is just, it's a little staggering to me. I don't think Roberts lost this game for the Dodgers, but that's one of the decisions where you look back, especially in this moment. Andy Paz is pinch hitting, or not. I'm sorry, not he's facing. Who's he facing in that inning against? I think it's Jason Adam, right? He's facing Jason Adam with Ohtani on deck, right? 7th inning. That's the time to bring him in, right? That is the time to bring this guy in and try to see if he could maybe get on base and set the stage for Ohtani to face Adam. I'm sure Scott would have been brought in at that point, but still give yourself a chance where Ohtani could be, a hero for you and knock in at least the tying run, if not, score the go-ahead run. So there were little moves like that could have been done a little bit better tonight. But yeah, collectively, this offense from batters 5 through 9 really dropped off tonight. And that's where I think you lost this game. You lost it with the offense late, and you lost it with the defense early. And if you're going to beat a team this talented, this hot, this confident, and this unafraid of you, then you better bring your A game. And they just have not been able to consistently do that outside of the second half of Game 1.
We need some serious changes. I think the obvious change is get rid of Van Scoyoc, guillotine his ass, because he doesn't do anything for us. Position player wise, we've talked about it for a few years now. There needs to be some changes. And I think Max Muncy has to be the first casualty. Last season, he hit 182 in the postseason. This season, he's hitting 250, but he got a down 35 Chris Paul free throw or 3-pointer home run. So he's also sucked in this postseason. And frankly, Will Smith is adding no value other than throwing runners out at the catcher position. I think they need to move him to third base because he can't catch. He can't call a game. He doesn't know when to calm down his hitters. I don't think he went out there once to go talk to Walker Buehler. He just sat back out there all smiley and let Walker Buehler throw away, and that resulted in some David Peralta and Tatis damage against us. And the fact that Will Smith, because he's probably worn out in the second half from catching, his bat becomes useless. They need to capitalize on this guy's talent and get him out of the catcher position. I would move him to third. I would trade Muncy to China and get back some fortune cookies and call it a day.
Yeah, I think it might be time to shake up this roster. I agree with you. Obviously, Will Smith, they're committed to. As much as it pains me to say, like, I've always been a Max Muncy fan, but the performance in the postseason is just they just have to clean house of everyone that just isn't pulling their weight, honestly. And to me, I think the biggest move that they could make, biggest gesture I think they could make, is if the Dodgers get eliminated tomorrow, you got to get rid of Dave Roberts. You just have to at this point. I don't know what else you can do. He just isn't getting the job done. He has really great rosters every year, and he's a terrific, regular season manager, and he has not lost us this series by any means by what he's done in it. Yeah. But the fact is that his voice isn't resonating. I don't know what else to tell you. And I'm not saying that putting a new manager in there is going to automatically elevate this team and win a title, but his voice might be a tired voice at this point. I don't know, but he's just not reaching these guys the way that they need to be reached. And every year we're getting bounced in the first round. That cannot be acceptable or the standard.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, that's it.
I'll save that. I'll save my thoughts on that if they get eliminated. But he has to be axed. But go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, listen, I don't think there's an easy answer to this because we're asking, the larger sample size. And I know you don't want to hear this, Jake, but it's true. Over the course of 162, the philosophy works. They're usually winning in the neighborhood of 100 games. They're usually winning the division. Guys are having MVP caliber seasons. Guys are having, good numbers and whatnot. And then I think the last 3 years, there's two things that this team really needs to look at. Are we getting the right kinds of guys that are going to help us in October? And the answer is no, they're not. You had a guy that was available in Tommy Pham. You didn't capitalize on him. Pham has had 2 RBIs in 3 games, or 2 games so far, I should say, for the Kansas City Royals. He's been really good. And you could say what you want about his attitude or everything. You need attitude in October. That is why I like the Teoscar Hernandez pickup. There was going to be an edge that he brought to this team. There was going to be a not taking this moment for granted. And I think we could say that about a lot of guys in that Dodger clubhouse. And I know a lot of the comments, they're saying no fire, no passion, no rally cry. Why? Because there's a lot of full stomachs in there. There's a lot of guys who've won multiple World Series championships. There's a lot of guys who've won just one World Series championship, but death taxes and Dodgers in the playoffs. You could always rely on that. So that fire isn't quite there because they get there. Remember, Justin Turner spoke on this. We have sometimes came out with the same energy in a postseason game that we did in a regular season game, and that's going to get you nowhere. So I do agree some elements need to be changed, and you don't necessarily need to throw the baby out with the bathwater. And what I'll say about Dave Roberts is this. All great managers, no matter how successful you are, your voice will run out. We saw it in Boston with Terry Francona. They didn't win a World Series for 86 years. He won 2 in 4 years. They still ran him out of town. Joe Torre eventually faded with the Yankees. By the way, 3 straight LDS losses in Torre's final years with the Yankees. We saw it with Socia with the Angels. We even saw it with Bruce Bochy at the end of his time with the Giants. It just happens. Your voice runs out. But I just don't know if there's a clear-cut guy that you want to hire this offseason. Skip Schumacher, okay. But is Skip Schumacher going to be the Rosetta Stone? I don't know. So that's what I'm saying. There's not a lot of easy answers to this.
All right, Chris. Well, I appreciate you coming on. We're going to get to some questions from you guys. Chris, I'm gonna let you go though, because I want to be sensitive to time and just do rapid fire on these questions. So, Chris, do you have any final thoughts before we say see ya?
No problem. I appreciate you guys having me on, man. And series ain't over yet. We'll see what they do tomorrow night. But yeah, I feel the frustration. I'm right there with you guys. So we'll see what they do tomorrow.
All right. Love you, Chris. Maybe we'll see you tomorrow.
Appreciate it, guys.
All right. I want to get to your guys' questions. Super chats will take priority. So start dropping your questions in the chat below. If you haven't hit that like button yet, you got to hit that like button. God damn it. Be kind to us. Those likes go a long way. Don't be an asshole, not hit that like button. Let me do a quick read real quick from our partners at Underdog Fantasy. Then we'll get to your guys' questions. My pick'em busted tonight. Jake Cronenworth killed me, unfortunately. Who would have thought? But Underdog is super easy to play, and it's even easier to get started. Go to their easy-to-use mobile app or go to UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with the promo code INCLINE, and Underdog will give you a mystery special pick to use on your first pick'em entry, plus a first-time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code INCLINE to claim your new customer special of a mystery player pick and your deposit offer. Must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado, 21 and over in Massachusetts, Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpagambling.org. Text Arizona next step 53342 or call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Or New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Okay, so let's see if we got any questions here. I see one question coming from Jay Jacobs. Who would you like to see manage in 2025 and beyond? I don't know, man. We have to wait and see, I think. I'll give you.
I don't even know who's available besides Skip Schumacher at this point.
I'm desperate enough.
I don't know if he's the answer.
Yeah.
And again, it's not like, we're saying fire Dave Roberts and we have some sort of solution behind it. That's not our job to do. We're just sitting here as fans watching the same shit every year and thinking, why can't we get past the first round? And you can't gut the whole team. You're not going to do that. It's a successful team that wins the division every single year. You can cut a few players to trade a few guys that you don't think are valuable. Certainly there is that. You can shake up the coaching staff, which I think is another good way to do it, or you can get rid of the manager. And those are all moves you can make to make things different, but something has to change. It just has to. You can't keep doing the same thing every single season.
Joe Maddon's on my short list. I'll just leave it at that for right now.
Sure. Anybody that can do something in October.
Anna Pineda, do we feel optimistic that Cease is on short rest? I mean, he's the one Padres starter that we really hit well outside of Michael King today, who we won't see again. But yes, I mean, Dylan Cease on short rest feels like this is at least our last hope. But who knows? Like, this is the one pitcher Shohei Ohtani absolutely destroyed, and he's kind of been lifeless in this series since taking Dylan Cease deep. So hopefully this reignites him, gets Shohei going, because we've said it all year. This team is nothing without Shohei Ohtani, and Ohtani's been a non-factor these last two games.
He has, but it also is an issue that the offense is not getting on base for him. So that's another big factor in there. And look, the thing about baseball that you have to understand is that every single game is a new day. So whatever happened tonight is not, has nothing to do with what's going to happen tomorrow. So the Dodgers could wake up, go to the park, and beat the Padres 10-0 out of nowhere. They have the talent and the ability to do that. So if there's any silver lining tonight, it's that they have one more game to play. They're not out of it completely, obviously.
I hope Dave Roberts feels like there's a lot of pressure on him tomorrow, that his job is seriously on the line, because I can't take the happy, nice guy shit anymore. This guy needs to do something different. If he needs to yell at his players and make someone like Gavin Lux cry, do it, Dave. Freaking grow a pair, yell at the umpire, go out there if your pitcher's in trouble. Stop making Mark Pryor do the work. I need to see Dave Roberts go out there for once and fire up one of his pitchers or fire up a hitter. I appreciate this super chat coming in from Trevor Garbrandt. What we do the fire Roberts thing every year, but this is the first time it's felt real. Here are some harsh facts. Frank Vogel and Dave Roberts won the championship the same year in 2020. Since then, the Lakers have had now 2 different coaches since Vogel. Meanwhile, we have Dave Roberts, who has yet to get out of the first round up until this point, the last 3 seasons. Even Darvin Ham, who was a disaster, a clown for the Lakers, has accomplished more than Dave Roberts in the last 2 seasons because at least he coached his team to a Western Conference Finals. Meanwhile, we can't get out of the first round anymore.
I know, it's unbelievable. I mean, that's why it's time for a change. And again, we're not absolving the players here for what they've done on the field, because obviously there's a lot that the manager cannot control. He's not playing this game. We understand all of that. But at a certain point, it's what does keeping him around? What is the benefit of keeping him around if you get knocked out in the first round every year and you spend so much money year in and year out on these amazing rosters? And yeah, injuries are a factor, but this team is still good enough to win a World Series the way it is. They have the ability to do that. They just don't execute in October. And that's the maddening part about all of this.
Question from Dennis Gonzalez, and then I see another super chat, which we'll get to. Should the Dodgers bench Smith tomorrow and put in Barnes? Kike in place of Muncy?
No, I don't think that they should put Austin Barnes in over Will Smith. I don't see what that does.
I agree. If it was 2020, I'd say maybe, because back then Barnes actually had a great pull and feel for the game. But he can't throw anyone out anymore. He can't hit. At this point, you just have to die with Will Smith's bat and hope he comes to life.
You got to die with Will Smith's bat. You got to die with Max Muncy's bat, because you never know off Dylan Cease. I think he has a few home runs off of him.
I will say, though, I want Kike in the starting lineup tomorrow.
Yeah, you could put Kike in center field and have Edman at short, or vice versa.
That's what I'm gonna. That's exactly what the Dodgers need to do. Does Kike even have a bat in this series? I don't know if he does.
I think he might have had one in the first game or maybe he had one. No, he had one in the second game, because didn't they take Freddie Freeman out?
Oh yeah, you're right. He did take over. And he wasn't memorable. But regardless, Kike in elimination games, he's a big time player. Rojas is dead. Probably should never put on Dodgers uniform again. So yes, we're gonna put Kike in the lineup. So let me jump ahead real quick, because I see a super chat from Harmony Davis. Harmony, this is so awesome of you. Thank you so much for your super chat. Should they steal AJ Hinch from the Tigers? Would you guys do that?
I don't know if I could stomach that, but I also don't think that AJ Hinch is going to go anywhere. I mean, he took the Tigers that weren't expected to make the playoffs, and he took them to the playoffs. So I think they're pretty happy with AJ Hinch. I think that there's another manager out there for us. We just haven't found it. I tend to think that the Dodgers have had a string of sleepy managers. I've made this point before, and it just feels like obviously, Tommy Lasorda's don't grow on trees, but that's the kind of manager I think that they need. They need someone that is kind of has that tough attitude, that'll scream and yell and get these guys fired up. And I just, I think Camello was right earlier when he was saying that just the voices, they just expire at some point.
Yes.
And it just feels like Dave while he does treat his players well, and while they probably do respect him, and he's really great at keeping a clubhouse together, and he's a really good regular season manager, and honestly hasn't had a major blunder in a while in terms of managing a game. So he's done those things right, but it's just not working anymore. And I don't know how else to explain it. You got to make it. You got to make he's sort of like the sacrificial lamb, I think, at this point.
No doubt about it. I mean, Chris is right. We've been saying it for a while. Something with Robert's voice just doesn't seem to resonate with the players. Everyone gets too complacent. Freddie Freeman in this past offseason is talking about his favorite cookies. Like, what are we doing here? Stop with this soft guy stuff. You got a picture of Jason Hayward hanging in your locker room. Like, we need some assholes like Tommy Pham. I know Chris mentioned him.
I mean,
That's the
shit.
guy
At least Freddie Freeman's getting a couple hits a night, and he is one good leg. Like, like at least he's showing some heart and some grit by being in there.
No, yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, but the one thing I don't see from Freeman, at least on the field, is that same leadership that he showed with the Atlanta Braves. I feel like he's just kind of very nice guy, huggy feely out there. When he was in Atlanta, players like Ronald Acuna Jr. didn't like him because he was so tough on him. And I feel like since coming over to the Dodgers, Freeman's just been much more cozy, snuggy, hug you kind of guy, like Dave Roberts. Maybe he fed off the Dave Roberts energy. But yeah, to finish off the question, I don't think AJ Hinch is going to leave. I forgot that George Lombard, former Dodgers coach, is now the bench coach of the Tigers. But I will say it sucks that Alex Cora got the extension with the Red Sox, because at this point I would have stood at a street corner to get Alex Cora on our team. I feel like he is a much better manager than what Dave Roberts has going on.
You would have accepted Alex Cora, but not AJ Hinch. They were on the same cheating Astros
I'm saying I don't think Hinch will leave Detroit.
Oh, but you would have him.
Yeah, I would have him, but he's just not a realistic option. And Cora would have been, but now he's not either because he got extended.
We don't need those guys on this team. We need someone else that didn't orchestrate the biggest cheating scandal of all time.
That's fair. Christopher, philosophy of pitching needs to change. Why can't this team have one pitcher pitch 6 innings in the playoff? Not since Max Scherzer in 2021. What is Gomes and Freeman doing?
Well, they had pitchers lined up and they all got hurt. So I don't know if that's a reflection on the medical staff or what have you, but you would feel really good if you had Glasnow, if you had Gavin Stone, if you had, Bobby Miller completely is a shell of himself from his rookie year. Walker Buehler had a pretty terrible season overall. Clayton Kershaw didn't show up. He was hurt. It's tough. And we said that when they got Glasnow, that it was, great. And honestly, he pitched more than I thought he would, but it's so predictable that he can't make a postseason start. I mean, Jesus Christ.
In hindsight, the way they approached this offseason with the rotation was just a disaster. Even Sean Manaea, who I thought was like done so, is throwing 7 innings against the Phillies in the playoffs.
Shut them down. Shut them down.
We can't even have a guy go 6 anymore.
But that's my point, is like, why is it that these other players...
Maybe Pryor needs to go.
Maybe. But why is it that we see other players step up and perform in October and our guys can't do that? Like, why couldn't Yoshi Yamamoto be the guy? Like, why couldn't he do that? You know what I'm saying?
I give him a pass because he was on the IL for like 3 months.
I know, but it's like Jack Flaherty put us in a hole, and that guy was good all year for us.
Yeah, Flaherty, I can't explain that one. Obviously, you mentioned Glasnow being gone for 2 months. We had Gavin Stone until the finish line, and then he fell on his face. River Ryan threw like 3 starts and tore his UCL. Every time Dustin May seems like he's going to do something for us, he tears his elbow again. And then when he's eating the deer that he hunted the night before, he tears his esophagus. Here's a prediction for you guys. Dustin May is getting traded this offseason. I will stake my reputation on that. He is gone. Take it to the bank. They will part ways with Dustin May, if not just non-tender him altogether, because he is just useless and clogging up the roster space. So we lost Dustin May. Gonsolin's been out all year. We talked about Stone, Glasnow. Meanwhile, remember very early on in the offseason, the Dodgers were in on Dylan Cease until they decided not to be in on Dylan Cease. Corbin Burns was available. They could have gone for him, but nope. They wanted Tyler Glasnow, I guess, and they gave up Ryan Pepio in the process, who pitched well down the stretch. So maybe Brandon Gomes, maybe he needs to be scapegoated and fire him, because Andrew Friedman can't go anywhere because he's linked to the Shohei Ohtani contract. But if they want to just burn someone in the front office and put the blame on someone, I wouldn't mind if Brandon Gomes has to be hung up on a cross.
Someone has to go, and I think multiple people have to go. But obviously, we are talking as if the Dodgers are getting eliminated tomorrow or in Game 5. But if they somehow dig themselves out of this hole and are able to win 2 games in a row in advance of the LCS, then maybe we're not having this conversation. It obviously depends if they, by some miracle, make it to the LCS and make it to the World Series. We'll revisit this conversation then. But what I think is important is to revisit what we talked about last year, Kevin. The postseason press conference, or after the season exit interviews. That's the term I'm looking for. The exit interviews we listened to with the Dodgers, they basically said, we're running the whole thing back. Dave's coming back. Van Scoyak's coming back. The whole coaching staff, they're all coming back. And I remember us talking about saying, why? Why couldn't they make at least some adjustment from 22 to 23? It was like, that was enough to be like, something's got to change. We're not getting it done in October. We're not scoring enough runs, yada, yada, yada. Something has to change. And they run it back. They cannot run it back again after this year if they get eliminated in this series. They just can't. They have to do something different. Otherwise, they're just feeding the fans just this bullshit that we keep having to endure another long season where we perform amazing throughout the whole year, just to have that doom and gloom of knowing that the calendar is turning to October and we've got to be confronted with just piss poor play and piss poor results. I just don't know how they expect us to stomach this again.
It's ridiculous. IV, what do the Padres have that the Dodgers don't? I still believe in my heart that the roster the Dodgers have is much better. Why can't they beat them? I mean, head to head, the Padres have the better starting rotation. People underestimated the rotation that they had going into the season, but honestly, it was a pretty sneaky good rotation, and it's paid off. The only guy they've really lost to injuries was Joe Musgrove, very last second in that wild card round. I mean, lineup wise, the Dodgers lineup in theory feels like it should be deeper, but it's not, because they have guys at the bottom of the order and role players that step up. Between David Peralta, who somehow turned into fucking Eddie Rosario in this series, go figure that every single former Dodger kills us, and now David Peralta gets thrown into that mix. Manny Machado, former Dodger, kills us. Fernando Tatis, not a former Dodger, kills us. But Luis Ariz has been annoying. Cronenworth's got some timely hits. Xander Bogaerts been able to make some contact. Higashioka has been able to make contact as well as a catcher. Every single player in the Padres lineup, I feel like when we're facing them, whether they even get an out, it's still a productive out. Meanwhile, we've got jackasses like Max Muncy striking out. Will Smith can't do anything to save his life. Gavin Lux has been a non-factor the last couple of games. You can't get rid of Smith because of that contract, but Muncy and Lux, those are two spots you've got to move on from. We've seen it every year now. They don't get it done in the postseason. We need some serious changes. They have to re-sign Teoscar. You have Shohei. You've got Mookie. You've got Freddie. But the third base position and the second base position needs some serious cleansing.
And shortstop.
Yes.
So this is a good question, because I feel like, and I hope you'll agree with me on this. I think you will, is that the bullpens are kind of a wash because they're both really good. The Dodgers bullpen has been excellent in this series outside of what happened in Game 2 with their low leverage guys giving up home runs. But collectively, the Dodgers bullpen has been just as good as the Padres bullpen. So that's kind of a wash there. Obviously, you mentioned the starting pitching is better than ours. That is clear as day. They're just better. Although Dylan Cease did not pitch great, and Michael King, they both gave up 5 runs. So the only starter that did better than anyone else was Yu Darvish. But then you look at the lineups, right? And you mentioned all of those names like Kyle Higashioka and Cronenworth and even Jackson Merrill and Bogarts and Profar and all these guys. They're just getting so many contributions from up and down their lineup. We're not getting that. We're getting just literally nothing from the majority of this lineup. Then the last thing that I think is actually pretty pertinent, and we saw it tonight because the Dodgers played horrifically defensively. The Padres have played excellent defense, exceptional defense. They have made obviously all the routine plays. The only error I can really think of is that errant throw that Machado had in game 1 or 2. I think it was game 1. But other than that, they've made every routine play and all the difficult plays like Profar robbing Mookie, or just the diving catches of Merrill, or the sure-handedness of Bogarts at short, or a rise at first base tonight. I mean, all the way around the diamond, they are just outplaying us at every facet of this game.
Those Dodgers World Series champs. Hey, Jake Reiner, I saw you on that Monsters miniseries.
Yeah, well, right now I wish that the Menendez brothers would shoot me with a shotgun, because I just am so done with this fucking team right now.
Are you allowed to comment on the show, or are you not allowed to give a take on the quality?
Oh yeah, I mean, I thought I actually really liked the show. I thought it was great. I mean, I thought the acting was really good. The two boys that played the Menendez brothers were really good. It was, very over the top dramatic. That's the Ryan Murphy style. And if you're interested in watching the show, you don't have to watch the whole thing to see me. I show up in the first scene, but make sure that you are paying attention. You're not on your phone or blinking, because you might miss it and you might have to rewind it. But I have one line. I have one line, and if you remember what I look like, you'll see you'll see me on there.
Yeah, I'll be honest. The show is just okay. It had its highs. It had some kind of cringe moments, but it's certainly better than this Dodgers joke of a postseason I've been watching. Okay, so
you even put up a picture of the Menendez brothers as
the
Will
Menendez
Smith and
brothers.
Max Muncy.
They are literally the Menendez brothers right now, Max Muncy and Will Smith. You've got Will Smith, who is robbing this team blindfolded, all fucking Robin Hood style, where he's stealing everything and giving it to the poor. And in this case, the Padres are the poor team, because the way he's giving it back is by doing jack shit. He fucking sucks this series. And then Max Muncy gets hurt, comes back, can't hit the fastball anymore. Basically, it looks like washed Justin Turner. Defensively, he's nothing special either. The whole point, we've kept him around because I think we felt sorry for him, and he's a cheap contract. But goodbye, Max Muncy. I'm done with you. I'm done with Lux. I think I'm done with Kershaw. Just blow it up. Fucking, we need to turn the page and get some new people. So we're almost an hour in, so I want to be sensitive to everyone's time here. Get your guys' final questions in. Jake, is there anything else we need to talk about before we just completely lose it?
No, I think we hit on all the points. It's just another disappointing output in October, but it's the same story.
Yes. I'm just going through let's go through the comments. Juan Alcantara, do you think they get rid of Tony Gonsolin too? Who knows? That guy's another choker in October.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to be honest, if he's healthy, they should have him pitch. I mean, they need pitching. They're always hurt. So why not? Who cares?
Let's see what else we've got. Just scrolling through the comments. Really appreciate all you guys coming through. Over 200 people watching us right now live on YouTube. It always turns out that when the Dodgers play really shitty like this, we get our best viewership. So go figure. I mean, yeah, Craig bringing up a good point. Why is there such a struggle with the teams that get a bye that just suck in the next round? I think they were talking about on the Fox Postgame show. It's like 5-16, the record of the one or the bye teams. You had the Phillies, who had the bye, they can't win. You had the Braves, who had all the byes, they can't win. The Dodgers have choked it all. We're the goats at choking the one seed. That's like, my God.
Yeah, I don't know, but to me, it's like there's nothing you can really do about that, right? Because what are you going to do? Not play to win? You're going to play to get a seed that puts you in the wild card series? I mean, that's not a good strategy to have, because then the series is even shorter than the ones that the Dodgers are losing in. So I don't know how you fix that. I don't know how you prepare better. The Dodgers tried to do something different this season than they did last season. They stayed more together as a team. They, tried pretty much, they had a watch party for the other games. They tried to be more together. I don't know what you do, but nothing seems to be working.
Question from Robbie Swade 13. Do you guys have an Instagram? Just search the Incline Dodgers and you can follow our Instagram page. I'm not going to give you my personal Instagram page because, no offense, I don't know you and I don't want random people following me on Instagram. Anna Pineda, will all be forgiven if they come back? Oh, absolutely. I mean,
yeah,
I will whore myself out to get a full 162 season World Series. I've been begging for this my entire life. Like, besides breaking the law and having to kill someone, I will do just about anything for the Dodgers to win a World Series. If you want me to post nudes, I'll post nudes. I will literally do whatever it takes to get a World Series and a parade to Los Angeles. I am willing to risk it.
Please don't. Please don't do that, Kevin. We don't need to see that. But I get your point. Yes, I believe all will be forgiven if they come back and win this, because if they come back and win this, it means that they're playing way better baseball than they've played over the first 3 games. So then they'll have momentum going into the LCS. Of course, all will be forgiven. The goal is still the goal. The goal is still to win a title and watch this team have a parade in LA. That's the goal. So if they come back, absolutely.
Will begging me to answer this question since we're both going to Oasis at the Rose Bowl next season. First song they play, Rock and Roll Star. There you go. I'm just we'll power through the final questions real quick. How optimistic were you guys thinking that the Dodgers were going to come back and win after that Grand Slam? When did you guys lose hope? Coming from Ivy.
I started to lose hope in the 6th inning because it just felt like the Dodgers were not putting up any more fight offensively. And then we get into the 7th and the 8th, and it's just like, oh my God, we're really not going to come back. Because usually what happens is that the Dodgers will mount some sort of late rally, and that just never happened. So it was just already setting in that this might be over. But I honestly always thought, because this team can only score by hitting the ball out of the park, I thought, well, if we're only down 1 run, they only need 1 swing. And Ohtani almost delivered that. I mean, I think it would have been a home run in the majority of ballparks that would have tied the game. So there was always that hope that we just needed 1 mistake, 1 swing to tie the game. But we just weren't having good at bats. We were chasing, we weren't working the counts, we weren't getting on base, and it felt shitty from the 6th inning on, I would say.
It's just so Dodgers-like to hit a grand slam, get you back within the 1 run, and then do nothing after that. As BC's pointing out, they went 1 for 21 after the grand slam and couldn't even get 1 runner in scoring position. Just an abysmal performance. This team is the ultimate. They give you blue balls. They get your hopes up. They make you feel like you're back in, you're about to get laid, and then they just ghost you. And this is what the Dodgers do to me every postseason. They're a bunch of pussies out there. It makes me sick. I don't know. I don't remember the at bats, or I say I don't remember the inning, but when Muncy struck out against not Suarez, but the pitcher before, was it Estrada? I think it was Estrada. That's when I was like, oh fuck, we're fucked.
That would have been in the 6th inning. So it was Estrada, Adam, and then Tanner Scott before Suarez.
Yes. So I think it was when Muncy was facing Estrada, and that's when I was like, oh fuck, this bullpen's gonna fuck us over. And that's exactly what happened. This is frustrating. Is it as frustrating as last year? I don't know. Maybe tomorrow we'll have an answer, but it's just sad at this point. Like, we're the laughing stock. Like, the Dodgers, we're not. We're Clippers. We're almost the Clippers at this point. Everyone else is winning their World Series. We got ours in 2020.
No, we're not the Clippers. We're not the Clippers. We have 7 titles. They have none.
The amount
they've never even gotten to the championship, to the NBA Finals.
That's fair. The Padres are more the Clippers. We're like the Cowboys.
Okay.
We are the Cowboys. That I saw some people also throw that out there. I'll be reasonable. Yeah, we are the Dallas Cowboys. We can't win shit. We have the best rosters. We choke every year. The coaches are never right. The GMs just make sometimes hideous moves in hindsight. And the fact that we're going to lose to the Padres potentially again just has me sick. I mean, San Diego, to lose to San Diego is just, first of all, their fans are obnoxious. Second of all, nobody wants to be in San Diego anymore as a franchise. The Chargers left, Shamu left. The Padres is all they have left. Nothing else wants to stay in San Diego. Even that one guy that is the biggest Padres fan left San Diego to go to work for John Boy in New York. Nobody wants to be in San Diego anymore except the freaking Padres is all they have left. We cannot lose to this city, this inferior San Diego franchise once again.
But they deserve it. They're playing, they play better than us in October every single year outside of that 2020 meeting that they had where the Dodgers were able to beat them. They're just better. I mean, I'll take all the comments and all the hate from the San Diego Padres fans because they deserve it because their team shows up when it matters and ours doesn't. So I don't really have much to say about that. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to root for this team because they don't win anything. I mean, and the problem is it's not rooting for a franchise that sucks like the Rockies, right? Who never are going to win anything anytime soon. And it's just every year, it's just like, whatever, it's just fun to go to the ballpark, maybe take the family there, but the games don't matter because they're not playing for anything. And then one season out of a blue moon, they have a great run, This is the expectations are championship or bust with the Dodgers. And so rooting for a team like that now can't get past the first round, I think is possibly more demoralizing and frustrating and embarrassing.
I honestly give no credit to the Padres tonight. We beat ourselves. This was the ultimate classic. Dodgers beat themselves. The Padres didn't even play great. Their starter got shelled. They really didn't hit. They had a couple key hits because Walker Buehler left a meatball to Tatis. And frankly, that pitch to Peralta were bad. And so they get a little credit for capitalizing there because probably if the tables were turned, the Dodgers wouldn't capitalize there with those free outs. But we gave them a bunch of free passes. It was like a 6-out second inning, and we just never recovered.
Yeah. We do that too. We get beat in October, but we also beat ourselves. And you give, like I said, you give a team like San Diego all those opportunities to score. They're a great team with a great lineup. They're going to score. They're going to capitalize. That's just what they do, especially in front of their home crowd. They were feeling it. And I just thought that if Buehler could have gotten out of that inning with just a 3-run deficit, it was already 4-1 at that point. I thought, okay, it's early enough to where they could have a chance. And then Tatis hit that massive home run. And I just was like, okay, well, it's over. And it sucks because a lot of these playoff games the past few years have just been over so early. And yeah, Teoscar Hernandez hit a grand slam, and that was really exciting. Got the guys back into it. But again, 5 runs, not enough because the pitching is so bad. The starting pitching is so bad that they put this team in a hole. Now, I'm not excusing the offense because they did not come through at all. They just kind of went to sleep and didn't do anything the rest of the game. But it's like, it's ridiculous to ask your offense to overcome these massive deficits every night, especially in October. You can't do that.
I see people in the chat asking why don't the Dodgers have their own Grimace? I'm honestly not even sure. Maybe you know the story, Jake, behind why Grimace is now like the Mets mascot. But Grimace isn't even from New York. McDonald's was born in SoCal, and not even McDonald's wants to back up the Dodgers anymore because they know we're chokers. Grimace is so pissed at the Dodgers, he'd rather go out to New York and root for the Mets, who have been a laughingstock for the last 15, 20 years. But now they look like they're in a better position to win a World Series than the Dodgers. Like, what the hell is going on? Last year, they gave away Verlander. They gave away Scherzer. They were a complete train wreck. And now they're one win away from reaching the NLCS.
Yeah, just happens. They have those Cinderella teams, man. I mean, the Tigers are a clear example of that too. They looked like they were dead in the water. They gave us Jack Flaherty because they thought that they weren't going to make the playoffs. And then all of a sudden they turned their season around, and now they're battling it out with the Guardians.
Fucking sucks. Just going to read this comment from Sean Martin because it's funny. Dodgers grimace is Gavin Newsom. All right, well, we've been here long enough, so let's do your final thoughts, Jake. My final thoughts, and if I see any awesome questions in the chat or any awesome last comments, I'll give you guys 2 minutes.
I have my final thoughts right now, which is just there's one more game. The Dodgers can win it. Nothing that happened tonight or the entirety of the history of this franchise matters, because every game is its own entity and things can happen. I just hope that the team just has enough fight in them to at least get the series back to LA. At least give yourselves an opportunity to win, because if you win tomorrow, then game 5, anything can happen. And I know they'll probably go with you, Darvish, whatever, who cares? But anything can happen. And so you just have to give yourself a fighting chance. You cannot go out the way that you've gone out the past few seasons. You've got to show some fight.
Craig saying Dodgers need a massage. I don't know about that, Craig, but maybe they've caught the Deshaun Watson, because Deshaun Watson got way too many massages and now he's ass. And apparently the Dodgers catch the Deshaun Watson in October. And then I think we see a question from Anna. Will you be on tomorrow regardless of the outcome? I will be here. Jake, I don't know what your schedule is. I know you're usually busy on Wednesdays, but we'll figure it out.
We'll see.
We'll see. There will be a show. Who's on it to be determined and what time to be determined, but it will happen. Eric, we're peacing out with you. Were any of you here born when the Dodgers last won a 162-game World Series? No, absolutely not. 1988, I was not alive. Well, thank you guys all for watching. We really appreciate all you tuning in with us live tonight. If you're new to the stream, hit that subscribe button, the Incline Dodgers podcast. We have an audio feed as well. Just search the Incline Dodgers podcast on Apple and Spotify. And we really appreciate all you guys dropping the comments. You guys made it electric. Thank you guys. Until tomorrow, hit that subscribe button, drop some comments.